I try to be.
Slinging chili at them.
No, I don't sling chili at people for asking.
Okay, good. What else do I want to know about you? I think we've covered a lot of it. What should I know about you? Is there a good story from a chili cook-off? Is there something different about this year that's different from every other year?
Yes.
Go ahead.
I think I've joked with my husband that I think our baby's bad luck for me. The entire time I was pregnant, as I said, I couldn't qualify. Every cook-off we've gone to this year, I've been kind of his primary caretaker, and I haven't qualified. The first cook-off I went to without him, I went up to Vermont State with my father and left the baby at home with my husband because he was already qualified. Get about 3/4 of the way to the cook-off and realized that I left my meat and my spices in Baltimore at my dad's house. Exactly. I was petrified to call my husband and tell him. I'm not sure why, but I was because I knew he'd be really upset. It was too late for us to turn around. It was too late for my husband to try to race up and bring everything to me. And I was actually had my father's meat with me as well, because sometimes I'll cut his meat for him and prepare his meat since he's doing all the driving. It's a nice deal, nice trade we have. So the next morning we got up from the hotel, found a grocery store, went and got all the meat, put it in a cooler, layered it with ice to try to keep it good and cold and stiffer to cut. Bought every chili powder I could find in the grocery store, bought new garlic, onion, everything I need to make my chili that they had. John texted me the basics of my recipe, the structure. This is how many tablespoons of chili powder I have, even though I wasn't going to have the same powders. And went to the cook-off site. A lot of the chili cooks are on Facebook, and so I was updating my Facebook status to say that I left all my spices in Baltimore. What did anybody have that was in Vermont? Started getting responses back from what people had. So I got to the cook-off, and I think 3 different cooks gave me some spices that they had. And then I happened to find my stepdaughter's spices that she had a little bit left over from the last cook-off. So I cut all the meat on site with my father, had that sitting aside, and then reconstructed a recipe from scratch. I had little tasting cups of every powder that I had and tasted each one to figure out which one I liked the most, liked the least, and what kind of combination I wanted. Recreated a recipe, went with it, and then I won.
You won?
I won.
After all that, you won?
After all that, I won.
And what kind of a feeling was that?
That was an amazing feeling. I seem to always cry when I win. I'm very emotional that way. I always tear up. So I was actually on the phone with my husband, and I do the same thing he does. If one of us is in a cook-off, we'll call each other during announcements, and kind of said, I won, and hung up. Went up to and got the award. And I think for me it meant 2 different things. One, I kind of, like you said before, we were talking about, I felt validated as a cook, that I could take a recipe and sit there and try these spices and make something that 1, tasted good, and then 2, actually won. And then the second one for me is a lot of my qualifications have come from the Maryland and DC area, and this was the first time that I qualified out of that area, and so that meant a lot to me as well.
That's awesome. That's fantastic.
Thanks.
All right. Well, thank you for telling me that story. I appreciate it. I think we got a lot of great stuff from you.
Thank you.
How about we go to your other half?
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and jump up.